Folks. Welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments at the original background of the bookcase. Haven't been filming over here in a little while. Kind of miss it. Do you guys miss it? No one even seems to miss it. This is where history was made. This is where Rudy went to like creepy Rudy, to like pump and dump Rudy, to scumbag Rudy, to all the different Rudys that developed. This is the origin story. So I guess on origin stories of this channel with the reserve list and Magic the Gathering and the world and Rudy's Pokemon bathrooms and all the different things that have happened the last 10 years. It's 2025. In the middle, almost July 2025. And we are in a situation in the Magic the Gathering world where people are selling reserve list vintage Magic to buy serialized cards, to buy modern Magic, and to buy chocobos, serialized chocobos. People, I had a patron message me, and it made my brain implode into a roll of cabbage. And the tumbleweed guy drove by in the Ferrari with all the hot chicks, and it just made my brain go, maybe old man Rudy yells at clouds really doesn't get it. I never thought we'd be in a day where Wizards of the Coast, owned by Papa Hasbro, can make a new Magic the Gathering set in 2025. In a Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy collector box is now $1,250 plus tax. That's almost $1,400 shipped on eBay and TCG Player, with still 100 to 200 boxes a day, selling with the most follow-through Chuck Norris fist I've ever seen. And this patron said, Rudy, I just want to let you know, man, been watching you for a long time, been patron for many years, even though you always hit on my stepsister. And he said, Rudy, I actually sold my revised dual lands. I sold 3 or 4 of them, and I got a Final Fantasy collector box. And I said, wow. And then, if that wasn't the weirdest thing, this morning I had another patron, because I had commented to this other patron that another patron sent a message saying, yeah, well, I decided to sell some of my Power 9. Another person sold 2 pieces of Power 9. I think it was a Mox Sapphire Unlimited and a Mox Ruby. And this long-term patron said, Rudy, I got rid of my near mint to mint Unlimited Mox Sapphire in like a plate or whatever condition Ruby for 6 boxes of Final Fantasy Collector. 2 pieces of Power for 6 collector boxes. 72 booster packs of 2025 product for 2 pieces of Power 9. I saw online, not a patron, I just saw another person traded a Library of Alexandria for 1 Final Fantasy collector box. I'm not sure if I should be embarrassed with you guys. I'm not sure if I should be uncomfortable. I don't know how to respond to this. I don't know if I'm just upset at myself for getting it so wrong. I'm not sure how I feel. So this is why we're having a good conversation. It's one of those moments in life where I'm just taking it in. Not only was I wrong about the future of vintage Magic, clearly. Remember, you guys remember what Rudy called vintage Magic, right? Museum quality cards. I always believed that ABU and Four Horsemen, Arabian Antiquities, Legends of the Dark, those were literally cards of historical significance that had historical ties. I mean, Arabian Nights and Legends, the names, the cards, the lore, and of course, they are the sets that started the entire world of CCGs in the early 90s, right? In 93, 94. I always felt that moving in the future, those would be looked back upon as museum historical game pieces. I always felt they were significantly undervalued. I still feel that way, and at this point in time, I think I am the cheese that stands alone. I think I am the only person left in existence that still thinks vintage Magic is a beautiful piece of history, and old man Rudy cannot believe, like, it's because, I had an interesting conversation with this individual. This individual said, Rudy, if vintage magic doesn't change in price, I mean, what are we at, 3? 2021 was the last time vintage magic went up in price. It went down in 22, went down in 23, of course, Magic 30, went down in 2024, and it's like flat in 2025. So we were at 22, 3, 4. So we're almost 4 years of bear markets, flat to negative growth price movement of the original 93, 94 Magic. Now, some of you out there have made it very clear to me privately, and you know who you are, that you feel the glory days of vintage magic are over. That's it. It's peaked. Just shifting demographics, culture, everything. Multiple people have told me that. And my response to you all out there who believe that is, I hope you're wrong, but I'm afraid you're right. That is my Rudy answer to that. Because if I make a video on here, I should title this video, Wizards to Abolish Reserve List. I should put some ridiculous title on this video, because does anybody even know what I don't even think, I think I have newer patrons and newer customers and newer viewers on this channel. I think a lot of you out don't even know what the reserve list is. I think there's a lot of you all out there who've stumbled on this channel for whatever reason, I'm sorry, and you're probably going, what? I thought Rudy was doesn't he just sling new product and talk about Weiss girls and One Piece and Flesh and Blood and Pokemon bathrooms? I don't understand. What were we talking about today? I feel like that's where we're at. This shit is wild. If it stays this way, and what we had discussed last year comes true, that vintage magic continues through what we like to call a lost decade, that would be incredibly historical in itself. There has never been a 5 to 10 year block that vintage or original magic is negative or at zero kind of thing. In other words, it's just complete. You can buy vintage magic today at the same price it was 4 years ago, or probably less. That is a severe bear market. This isn't something it's wow, things seem weak. Better sip on that hopium. Better try to hope things. No. This is just straight up. It is a vintage winter of bear. If this was like Wall Street, it'd be a lost decade bear market. If it was crypto, they would call it crypto winter. If it was real estate, they would just call it a gully, a little sag in the market. But no, it's a really wild thing. And I think I'm disappointed in myself for even during the COVID 2020-2021 era that I never even considered one of the future possibilities of being this much of a situation, or this extreme of a situation. I think that's what it is. I think I'm disappointed in myself for missing something that was at least on the scale of probability. But then again, some of you are going to say, well, Rudy, you can't predict the future. And well, Rudy, Magic 30, nobody saw that coming. Mark Bottomwater stated they would never reprint collector's edition cards. It's just not an option, even with different cards. Nobody could have predicted that. Well, they said fuck it and did it anyways, right? And ever since those moments, the market refuses to come back. And the funny thing about it, you would think the abolish the reserve list and the anti thing and the game piece army would connect together like Transformers or a Power Ranger into some ultimate form and kind of use this moment as proof that, hey, Wizards, you don't need the reserve list. This is the time to get rid of it when no one cares. You would think that there would be some sort of movement for that. But see, the other variable that we didn't discuss or fully grasp in the last 5 years was at the end of 2019, when Mark Dr. Water, who's always the smartest guy in the universe, said Project Booster Fund is here, and we're going to make the collector box and for Throne of Eldraine. And the whole market, including me, was like, "Ooh, collect this thing! Oh wow, a small high-end pro." Okay, ooh. Even I was excited. I still am. But I never understood the implications of that very first collector box in 2019. It feels like it took Wizards of the Coast from 2019 all the way to 2024, I'd say, yeah, to keep tweaking, raising, lowering, adding, adjusting slots, print runs, sizes, price points. They've been tweaking the entire collector box. They've been re-engineering and tweaking that product for years. And suddenly, if we really look at the chart from 2019 to 2025, that's almost a 6-year chart, maybe like 5.5 years technically. But in reality, let's just call it 6 years. Make me feel good in my left nut. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, I think by 2024, last year, or actually maybe even the end of 23, Wildsville Drain, Lost Caverns of Ixalan, going like into the Doctor Who, into the Ravnica Remastered, into the Q1 of 24, they figured it out. They figured it out. And not only did it's like they cracked the full Rubik's Cube, Da Vinci Code. They did it. And now they tweak the print runs. They raise the price. They've been tweaking serialized cards over and over. And I'm blown away that it's worked so well. Like, if I had to email myself to a fake email, I would email myself and I would say, Rudy, why should we go and mess with the reserve list when we have now created like the infinite money glitch machine? It's generally accepted that about 250,000 collector boxes worth of packs are made. That means maybe 200,000 collector boxes are produced, and maybe 20 to 50,000 of supplementary loose products, single loose packs and other items and gift bundles and Omega packs and overseas and different things. But it's generally accepted around collector boxes have 250,000 box print run worth of packs, no matter how they're packaged. Just that's the sum. And it's generally accepted that Final Fantasy, they knew it was going to be a big deal, so they jacked the print run from like 250,000 to maybe 3 to 400,000, or maybe 3 to 350,000. I don't know. I don't know. No email to myself. And the amount of additional revenue and profit on that additional bump in print run is probably some outrageous amount of bottom line profit. And they figured it out. They figured it out. There's no way to really discuss this without just acknowledging they fucking figured it out. And it's doing so well. I never thought I'd see the day that people will trade Power 9 for one new little box of a collector thing. People are trading a single booster pack now for like $120 to $150. Like $150 a pack for a new collector pack. Now, I'm supposed to be like shocked and crazy about this, right? But you all do know in 2020, we had VIP Double Masters. And the market lost its mind because store cost was like $80 a pack. And I remember selling to patrons for like $89 or $99 a pack or something goofy in 2020. And of course, today, those are probably $150 to $200 a pack. They're up 50% to 100% in the last, 4 years. Who knows? They've done well like everything. And it's one of these things, I remember that time, the amount of pushback and anger and frustration of everybody because how expensive a single VIP Double Masters pack was. And none of us fully understand the side effects of the success of Final Fantasy right now. But I assure all of you all, what has happened to Final Fantasy and Wizards of the Coast and what they are seeing happen on the secondary market is going to change the direction of everything. It's going to change how they design things. It's going to change how they price future collector boxes. It's going to cause further price inflation because I assure you, Wizards of the Coast has had meetings and they're talking about that it's been 2 weeks since release and Final Fantasy collector boxes are $1,200 a box and they can't do anything about it. So you have two solutions that Wizards of the Coast can use to stick their hand in that secondary market. Option A, they should have printed more collector boxes for Final Fantasy with a serialized card. They can't do anything now. Option B, they should have raised the store price from almost $300 a box to $500 or $600 a box, since the market's going to value it at $1,000 plus. So either one of these paths would have given Wizards of the Coast, Papa Hasbro, a huge additional free X amount of millions and millions of dollars. $5, $10, $20 million, who knows. That's a significant number. It's not enough to really change a multi-billion-dollar company, but it's just, tweaking a number and adding $20 million from one tweak is kind of a big deal, no matter what company you are, unless you're like a Google or Apple or Nvidia. That's like a rounding error. But for normal situations, that is pretty substantial, everybody. And I think we are all going to slowly come to terms about what this means for the reserve list, the future value of things, and how things are priced, how the market views things. And, this channel was started and built on the idea of discussing reserve lists and collecting and investing in magic products as they age. That was the whole basic concept of it. At the time when this channel was started, the new product was, of course, Eternal Masters, Eldritch Moon. God, I don't know. I remember the first patron sale I ever did was $79.99. Eldritch Moon shipped. And after that, the second month of Patreon I launched, the second month, the very second sale I ever ran was $69.99 shipped for Return to Ravnica boxes. This was, literally in 2016, everybody. Yikes. 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So, is that 10 years? I don't know how many fingers I have. But I guess it's starting to solidify when people are actually selling or trading older, rarer, and what I thought were more desirable cards for brand new flashy products. Now, in previous market cycles, we've never experienced anything like this. In the times of even COVID 2020, 2021, even in the reserve list boom of 2017 through 2018, which again, many people think was because of my injection in the market, and also the failure of master products with iconic masters, Master 25, new products started to fail. 2017 and 18, when the reserve list buyouts and the boom took place, you had a new culture shift on YouTube, including the rise of Alpha Investments. And of course, at the same exact moment, we had a lineup where Wizards of the Coast was releasing magic products that were failing. Iconic Masters came out and failed. Masters 25, the themed set you've been waiting for, I'll never forget that line, came out and tanked and failed. Okay? Then at the same time, you had Amonkhet, came out, dropped. You had Hour of Devastation, turned into Hour of Devastating Your Wallet. Came out, tanked, annihilated, cut the print run, put it out of print early. They couldn't sell it. Then they went into Ixalan. Ixalan comes out, doesn't do good at all. Rivals of Ixalan comes out, does even worse. Wizards of the Coast ends the reprint, print run, everything. It's cut off early in the middle of standard because nobody would even buy the boxes. At that time, there were times, I'll never forget that. It was it was dark. A lot of LGSs failed. I remember trying to help LGSs buying their Iconic Masters and Masters 25. I remember trying to take some of the allocations because they were negative and couldn't pay the bill. They were going to shut down. There was a lot of turbulence in history in this stuff. And in 2025, I'm bringing this up now because I would easily say a third to 50% of all viewers right now have not been around this stuff years ago. Most people watching right now were not around even 2 or 3 years ago. So people have no idea. All everybody knows is everybody wants to open a store because every Pokemon thing you get, every Magic thing, everything's just free money. Easy mode. You just pull the red rope in the middle of the room and a bunch of underwear and panties fall down and a bunch of dollars. Everything's just free underwear and free money, right? That is just the goofy ass 2025 world we're in. Now, here's the thing. I don't know where this is going to lead. There is no historical evidence or data or any trend that can help us understand where the market is now and where it's going to head. Because now, I can play this many ways. I can tell you, now that we literally have people getting out of vintage, they're dumping whatever they have to buy new collector boxes and new Magic. They're buying serialized cards of the new sets. They're buying serialized Final Fantasy Chocobos. I mean, they printed new cards. A new serialized Chocobo. 40, 50 grand. I'm hearing rumors now that number 69 and number 1 are like $50,000 to $100,000. And I'm hearing there's actually offers on it. Like, we're talking prices that are higher. I mean, you could buy 2 or 3 unlimited Black Lotuses for the price of a Chocobo. You can buy a Beta Black Lotus, graded probably an 8 or 9, for less than that. You can buy an Alpha, graded, I don't know, 7, 8, Alpha Lotus, and you start talking $50,000 to $100,000 range. Like, this stuff is truly like we're living in some parallel multiverse. We're on a timeline that split somewhere that Rudy definitely did not see coming. And this is why I also always tell everybody, these are the important reasons why we diversify. And why people say, well, why does Rudy buy Magic? Why does he buy Weiss? Why does he buy Flesh and Blood? Why does he buy Pokemon? Why does he do real estate? Why is he talking about his stock? Why is he talking about bonds? Why is he talking about cash? Why is he talking about this? Why is he talking about Bitcoin? Because we don't know which category is going to take off, and we don't know which category is going to crash and burn. The only free lunch in life is we know there's 5 to 10, 15 categories. So why take everything and put it in one and hope that we go to the moon? Take it, put it all the way across. And then some of you out there say, oh, see, well, this is going to go crazy, going skyrocket. You should put everything in that. Yeah, that's what everybody says when that one category is doing it. And then it turns out of nowhere. So that leads me to also, I have to say on the other side of the coin, bullish pump and dump Rudy has got to also say, so what happens if this leads to a very bizarre future? What if this leads where the next couple years, vintage Magic and old reserve list cards become so out of favor, they stay the same price for years, inflation, everything keeps going up, and eventually a new collector box is $2,000, and people are literally like, oh wow, I'll give you this Mox, I don't know, Emerald for one collector box. I mean, you're talking to the guy, I sold one Lord of the Rings holiday case, 24 boxes, for $50,000 2 months ago. Or 45 days ago. Whatever. Times I'm old. And I mean, that's where we're at. Would I pay $50,000 for a case of Lord of the Rings holiday? I mean, not really. But at the same time, I have such a terrible relationship with that product because of what I went through with it. It's very skewed in my mind. I view that thing and I'm like, oh God, the holiday thing. And now everybody's like, oh God, it's like gold. So let me paint another picture, and then I think I'm done rambling today. Fuck it, I'm done rambling. So to end this video, which means we're halfway through, let me throw one more thing out there since we're late in the video. Nobody's watching it. I'm gonna title this thing like reserve list. Something. Nobody's gonna watch this shit. So let me throw something really weird out there, because this was something that's been eating away at me a little bit. So let's say we're 4 years into a bear market on old Magic. Everybody knows I have 8 figures in old Magic. Not hundreds of thousands, not a million. It's 8 figures. Just those of you Timmies who are getting their calculator out. I have 10 million plus. I have 10 to maybe 30 million just in vintage Magic. And different safes at different locations and everything. So what happens if we go another 2, 3, 4 years and we do approach the lost decade? Let's be the most bearish we can be. 8 to 10 years. And a Library of Alexandria is $1,000 in 10 years from now. Or 5 more years, so it's 10 years total. And at that time, Wizards is making new products that are $2,000 a piece. So everybody just says, wow, this old shit's garbage. You got to go for this new high-end, really crazy, serialized, hand-sketched, drawn redemption. Mark Rosewater puts containers of bath water inside the collector box. Cynthia Williams comes back to Hasbro, and 1 in every 1,000 collector boxes gets a first edition cigarette from Philip Morris. All right, sorry, too much. I apologize. Do I? I apologize to somebody. What happens if everybody now, for the next 3 to 5 years, just keeps selling and liquidating their vintage cards to keep pumping this new market that's going crazy. Well, in 5 to 10 years from now, almost no one's going to have them. Except like literally a handful of people who've accumulated a ton who didn't sell. And if all these thousands of people continue to sell the old cards and put selling pressure and lower bids on the market, what happens if we get that little 1% chance that sometime in the next 10 years, the vintage magic market comes roaring back? And let's pretend for a second that sometime in a decade from now, that tiny little improbable event happens. And now nobody has the cards because everybody unloaded over a 10-year period. Now you start talking about a really uncomfortable, bizarre situation. What if something occurs where people want it? What if rules change, new tiers are made in Commander, maybe something shifts, maybe there's some resurgence of old man vintage. I don't know. I have no clue. Maybe there's a new format. Maybe there's a new synergy with a new format of a new cards. Maybe there's something, I don't know. Maybe there's a new Final Fantasy set where every Final Fantasy card you play, if you eat a vintage card while you're playing the game, you can spit the pieces on the table and it's like a chaos orb but from spit. I don't fucking know. But what happens? What happens if everybody continues to liquidate vintage to buy all this new stuff? And in 3, 5, 8, 10, in the year 2033, oh my God. Beep, boop, boop, boop. I mean, I'm not even going to have to make videos. It's just going to be AI. Oh, wait, Alpha Investments, AI. I planned that out. Damn, that was smart. What if this channel is just AI, Rudy? AI, right? So it's Artificial Intelligence Alpha Investments. So it's AI squared is the new name of this channel. I mean, you would go online and what if there's just nothing left on the market because these cards are going to be 40 plus years old? It's not Magic 30. I mean, these things, what if they approach 40 years old? And because they're so bad, everybody just sold and moved on. And then what if they come in style and in favor and you don't have a spread out net and you don't have a spread out market with tens of thousands of people that have these cards anymore? Those are the things I think about. What would happen? Well, to give you an idea, that's the kind of example that we saw happen with Lord of the Rings holiday boxes. We saw a situation where product was terrible. Nobody wanted it. Time went by, and then the market flipped. And by the time the market flipped, nobody had the product. Because nobody had the product, Lord of the Rings holiday should have never gone from $299 to $2,000 in 15 months. That happened because a series of perfectly coordinated events and variables and market idiots and Timu Timmies and Game Piece Army people all went on a date at the same time, and the clouds aligned, and it happened. You can't coordinate and predict that kind of thing. This time around, Final Fantasy. Everybody's, Rudy, don't buy these things. And I'm over here like, guys, any Final Fantasy collector box under $800, you guys should probably buy. I'll sell Rudy at the Rudy ripoff for $739 and ship to your door. And of course, fuck you, Rudy, you're an asshole. You're the Captain Scalper. I said, you can rent the Scalper Scanner 5000, but only for a day. And here we are, a week and a half later, the boxes are $1,200. So anybody who bought Final Fantasy collectors at any price in history has made money because they're at an all-time high. All you have, if you're trying to time the market and flip, maybe you lost money, but anyone who's actually bought Final Fantasy collectors in the last 30 days at any price below $1,250 to $1,300, everybody's made money. Everybody's up compared to what they paid. And it's a very ramble Rudy video because we truly are at a crossroads of a different, younger generation in a cultural perspective, a different attitude towards money, in the haves and have-nots are spread apart even further. And if you look at the whole thing, it really is concerning. People used to complain because a cradle went from a couple $100 to almost $1,000. People used to complain because Mott's Diamond got bought out. Sliver Queen got bought out. Anybody remember the very first reserve list buyout from that guy named Craig? Whatever hell happened to that guy? And he had this silly little thing. He made this little video. Hey guys, I'm Craig. I did the Legends Moat buyout. It was 2017. Nobody fucking remembers any of this except old man Rudy. I make these videos so at least there's a record in the future so people don't forget what happened. And yeah, the very first reserve list buyout was Moat for Legends. $150 card. The guy bought like 30, 40 copies. Pushed the price to $300 to $400 a card. Everybody lost their mind. We need to abolish the reserve list. And then it settled back down to like $300 a card from $400. That was it. That was the thing that everybody lost their mind. And now almost 200 orders a day on eBay and TCG Player are people buying $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 collector boxes of a brand new product with 12 packs. That is how you rewire the public. Anger, hate mobs, abolish reserve lists, all these things that used to be the most controversial, negative, emotional topic. And now I'm standing here in the middle of 2025. And I never thought I'd see the day where now all the old magic, all the reserve lists, all this stuff is mind-blowing cheap in relation to 2025 pricing and standards. The old stuff, because it doesn't go up, the further in the future we go, the cheaper those items get. In another 5, 10, 20 years, if a new Magic collector box is $3,000, $4,000, what, our Library of Alexandria's going to be $1,200? Are people going to say, hey, I'll take that play set of Bazaar of Baghdad. How much are 4 Bazaar of Baghdad's? 10 grand? I'll give you 2 collector boxes. Like, it sounds crazy, but this is the direction we're heading. Unless something changes. Now, historically, when things seem this crazy, eventually something recalibrates. A crash, a spike on an old thing, a crash on something has to recalibrate, right? That's the point of today's video. To me, the market doesn't feel calibrated. It doesn't feel balanced. It doesn't feel properly priced. To see a revised dual land, even play condition, for $200. I remember when people used to comment on my channel back in 2016 and 17 saying, how can I ever play or get old cards? A play set of 4 dual lands was $1,000. That's all I got.